Okay, hello once again, everybody. Welcome in to the Regular Guy DFS Fantasy Show. I am David, and welcome to the dungeon, better known as the room in my house that my wife let me have my office and my studio in. So, we're going to take a look today, as always, at today's daily pick six and some fantasy plays for this slate coming up here on Wednesday, the 21st. Before we do, we can take a quick look back at some of our core plays from yesterday. We had a good day yesterday. Didn't have any takedowns, which obviously is the goal, but we did do okay. If you caught the pick six yesterday, you knew that some of our plays were a little bit dependent on injuries. It's going to be the same thing today on such a big slate. It's hard to predict who's going to be in and who's going to be out at this point. Guys, I try to make this video as late in the day as possible so I can have as much information and as many updates as I can at the time of the recording of this video. But if you guys have been playing NBA DFS at all, you know, especially on these big slates like this, information is just coming in throughout the day, right up until lock. So we never know exactly what's going to happen. Some of the cores yesterday that we played, I told you yesterday my favorite spend up favorite stud on the slate was Karl Anthony Towns from Minnesota. He did not disappoint, 66 fantasy points. Then we tried to get a little bit different. It looked like our fade off of Kyrie Irving was going to do really well in the first half, as Kyrie did not have a great first half. Instead, we suggested players like Landry Shamet, Bruce Brown, and they did very well for their price tags. Bruce Brown, about 35 fantasy points. Landry Shamet, 31 fantasy points. But Kyrie did come back and have a big first half, or second half rather, and he ended up being a top play on the slate. But Terry Rozier, 43 fantasy points, one of the guys that we suggested that you look to as somebody different. Now, yesterday's video did tell us that Rozier was dependent on Devontae Graham, whether he was going to play or not. Graham ended up playing. I still stayed with Rozier, but on my second lineup, and just full disclosure, guys, when I play daily, I generally have two lineups, sometimes three lineups going at one time. I make them so that way I can try and be different in three different settings, just to cover your bases. If you have one lineup going, that's great, but one injury, can ruin your night 15 minutes into the slate. So did have a couple lineups going, but Terry Rozier was certainly, I left him in after the Devontae Graham news. Worked out okay. I did pivot off of him in my second lineup once we found out that Kawhi Leonard was out, went to Paul George, and obviously he was very successful last night too. So we did make a profit last night. We made actually a very good profit last night, and we're going to try and do the same thing with this video here today. Now, this is a big slate. We seem to be on this rotation with the NBA of a short slate, then a big slate, then a short slate, then a big slate. Last big slate 2 nights ago took 400 and some points for a full takedown in the tournaments that I was playing in. So we're gonna take that into consideration as we make our lineups today. A lot of studs in this slate, and I imagine we're going to need a pretty high total to hit the money tonight. So, along those lines, before I get started, I do want to mention something. Excuse me. The one of the biggest questions that I get asked almost every day from people around is, do I use an optimizer? I do not use an optimizer. That was kind of the whole point when I started playing daily fantasy and started realizing I could make money doing this, not being a professional daily fantasy player. That's kind of the whole point of the title of our video, the Regular Guy Show. I'm trying to help guys like you and me make a little money playing daily fantasy and not have to, devote 10 hours a day to it and make 150 lineups and that kind of stuff, because it still can be done. We're proving that. However, if somebody wanted to look at an optimizer, I'm not opposed to it. And I want to mention some guys that I've been keeping an eye on here for about the last 3 months. They're relatively new. They're Analytic City DFS. Now, they have developed an optimizer that, frankly, I've played around with a little bit, but I haven't got to get the full effects out of it yet because very simply my computer didn't have a program on it that would open an Excel file. But I now have that rectified, and a slate like this, where there's 12 games going, is a place where a person might want to think about messing with an optimizer. And again, I'm not opposed to it. I haven't used it yet, but I'm not saying I won't down the road if I could find the right one. I think I've found the right one. I'm going to play with it between now and the playoffs, but I encourage you guys, if you're interested in using an optimizer, seeing what they're all about, is it worth my time? How difficult is it? Check out Analytics City DFS. These guys do a great job. They put a lot of work into this. I've been very impressed with what they've put out so far. At the end of the day, it's about, are they winning? And they're putting out lineups that have been winning, and that's the whole point of this. We want to win, whether we sit here and grind over it ourselves or we use a tool like an optimizer to help us come up with some combinations that maybe we didn't see or we didn't think of. So if nothing else, go over there and check out their webpage. I've got it pulled up here. They've got a blog that they do. They put out a daily newsletter. They stay on top of it every day. They do a lot of the work, so we don't have to do as much work. And that's really what this regular guy show is all about. So like I said, I don't want you guys to have to devote 8-9 hours a day to try and get a perfect lineup in. And I encourage you, definitely. I'm gonna play with it a little bit more. Um, uh, if you're interested at all in using an optimizer, check out Analytics City DFS. These guys have really, they're kind of new on the scene, I think, and they've been getting some very good results. I talk to a lot of people in the daily fantasy, world on a daily basis. I pay attention to what a lot of different people are doing. I think you have to. More information is always good. Um, and I try to get as much as I can. I talk to as many people, and I pay attention to what guys are doing. And these guys seem to be onto something here. They don't charge an arm and a leg either. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if you could talk them into a free trial for a couple days. I don't know that for sure. I'm not speaking for them, but I know they've had some good results with this new optimizer that they've put out, and I'm looking forward to giving it a shot myself. And I know they've got one also coming up that they've put together for baseball. So when fantasy NBA is over, we can transition smoothly into baseball. All the help we can get, guys. There's nothing wrong with asking for it. That's why I'm here. So let's go into today's Pick 6. I'll try and do this as quickly as possible. Again, we're going to be getting news all throughout the day. This Pick 6 is based on the news that I have right now. It's also based on what it took to win GPP tournaments 2 nights ago on Monday when it was a big slate and all these studs went off. So I'm going to try something tonight that I don't generally do. Again, I'm going to have 2 different lineups, but in this first lineup, I'm going to say, you know what? We need to score as many damn points as possible. And I'm going to try and jam 3 studs into this first lineup. Again, we generally are trying to do things that are different. There's enough players in this pool tonight with this many teams playing that we're not going to have super, super high ownership on anybody. So I think this is a good time if we want to go with the strategy of let's get as many studs in here, play studs and scrubs tonight as we can, and take our chances and just try and build up as many points as we can. We'll talk about an alternative to that here a little later in the video because I am pretty excited about building a different kind of lineup that's not jamming all these studs in. But I'm going to start today with my 3 favorite studs on the slate. So, in our Pick 6, our very first play of the night is we're just going to follow the hot hand. We're going to play Russell Westbrook. There's a 90% chance it feels like that he's going to give you at least a triple-double. His floor is so unbelievably high, it's amazing. I don't know if I haven't been playing NBA DFS all my life, but I don't know if anybody's had a stretch like this. He's going to score. I think he scored over 50 fantasy points in how many straight games? Let's just take a look at the log real quick. 59, 56, 69, 69, 68. I mean, his floor appears to be 52 to 55 points. So as long as he's going to be hot like this, with or without Bradley Beal, you would think that Bradley Beal being in and scoring as many points as he's been scoring would hurt the usage, but actually it really hasn't. So we're just going to ride this wave. And speaking of riding a wave, our second player that we're going to try and jam in this lineup tonight is Steph Curry. Steph Curry, I don't have to tell you if you've been paying attention at all, over 50 fantasy points. He's scoring over 35, 40 real-time points about every game lately. His name is starting to come up in the MVP. I think that's important because once guys start hearing their name in the MVP, like earlier in the year, I was convinced LeBron James and Joel Embiid absolutely wanted the MVP award this year. I think Steph Curry is now trying to prove that, yeah, my team isn't winning at a high enough level probably, but I can play at a high enough level to be considered for the MVP. So I'm going to put Curry in this pick six, and then I'm going to jam in stud number 3 in Jokic. I don't have to tell you. I'm going to put actually him down here in our utility spot, but I don't have to tell you really about Nicola Jokic. It's a great matchup against Portland. Portland always struggles against bigs. Jokic is on a roll. It really doesn't matter who they play, but when you get a plus matchup like this against Portland, I just think we have to put him in. So Westbrook, Curry, Jokic, we're going to try and put them in all in the same slate. Okay, so that means we need some value somewhere to make this work. We're already down to an average on DraftKings remaining salary of about $3,500. It's going to depend on injuries, but we're going to look at this game, the Miami game. Bam Adebayo is questionable. Jimmy Butler, I believe. Let's just see where they're at as of right now. No Oladipo. Bam is questionable. Butler's questionable. Dedmon is questionable. If either Bam or Dedmon get ruled out, and certainly if both get ruled out, that makes Precious Achiuwa, who they started last time anyway, as a really good play here. You can look at Dedmon if he plays, but again, Achiuwa got the start, I believe, last time when Bam was out. So at 3,400, even if he doesn't get the start, he's still going to get them. He's going to get minutes. They're going to be high usage. So again, this pick six is dependent on information I just can't give you right now. I'm just kind of assuming that Bam Adebayo is going to rest tonight. If he doesn't, we'll have to look elsewhere to find our value, and we actually have a couple of other options that we'll get to here in a minute. So, if no Bam, and certainly if no Dedmon, then we're just going to lock Precious Achiuwa in. Now, if Bam is out and Dedmon plays, then Dedmon can be a good option here too. I assumed they were going to start Dedmon last slate, and they ended up starting Achiuwa. But they'll have to play off of each other. They'll both have to get minutes if they both play. Now, the other team, a very interesting situation has developed at Indiana. And that's a team we're certainly going to target tonight. I have a lot of interest in Indiana team tonight and the players. We're going to start with, we already know for sure that Sabonis and Turner are out. Okay? George, his name's not George. Goga Batadze, I don't even know if I'm saying it right, is a great play without Sabonis or Turner. But he is also listed as questionable. They are running out of big men down there. So, this play is even better if Batadze doesn't play. But even if he does, we are going to play O'Shea Brissett. He's a pretty productive player when he gets the minutes, and he's going to have to get the minutes. Why? Because Jakar Sampson, their other power forward / center, we just got the news about an hour and a half ago, he's suspended for tonight. Some on-court brawl that I wasn't even aware of. He was going to be a really good value play. But now without him, and certainly if Batadze doesn't play, This is a lock-in any of your lineups. Just put Brissett in. He's 3,100. He's saving you the salary. He's dang near men's salary. So just put him in because he's going to have to play. If we go over here and look, these are the available centers. Brissett is also a power forward center option. But if Batadze is out, then, I mean, we're out of centers. Sampson cannot play tonight. He's been suspended. So this is a great value play from Indiana, and we're going to take advantage of it absolutely with Brissett. So we need one more for our pick six, and I'm just going to keep going back to this well, guys. He doesn't seem, for some reason, they don't want to start him. But Frank Jackson from Detroit, his price came up a little bit, but at 3,700 is still a phenomenal play. He's been getting the minutes even when he hasn't started. Tonight we know Dennis Smith Jr. is certainly still out, and Killian Hayes is out. I think they would have started Hayes, but he's out. So I'm not sure if they're going to start Jackson. I thought they would start him last slate, and they didn't. He came off the bench, but he was still very productive. He scored almost 30 fantasy points. And at 3,700, again, you see we need this value if we're going to try and jam in three studs into this slate tonight. So I'm going right back to the well. He's treated me well. Start, or if he starts, even better. Hopefully he even gets more minutes. But I think Frank Jackson is still a solid play. So that's the official pick six for today. Westbrook, Jackson, Brissett, Achua, Curry, and Jokic. Now, you guys tune into these videos generally, hopefully, because we try to provide you with some different options. I play GPP tournaments where we all know the key is to get different, but yet still have production. They still got to score points, guys, even if they're different than everybody else. But there are a couple of guys tonight that I absolutely love. If you're going to put a second lineup in, if you're only going to put one lineup in and you want to save some salary, so you don't have to be looking for the value, so maybe you throw a Westbrook or a Curry or a Jokic out. I absolutely love, we're going to go back to, first of all, the Indiana game. And without Brogdon, without Sabonis and Turner, and possibly Batadze, Lamb's questionable, McDermott's questionable. Either one here, guys, Malcolm Brogdon or Karis LeVert are superb plays tonight because they're just going to dominate the usage. I mean, they're two guys that score and dominate the usage a lot when Sabonis is in. TJ McConnell, another guy that you can look at 5,200. A reasonable play. I think he's been getting some good minutes too. This is a great matchup against OKC, even without their bigs. Let's just peek on him real quick. 25 and 36 minutes the last two games. So he could be an option. But I absolutely love Malcolm Brogdon as an alternative tonight. And the other guy that I really, really like, and I'm going to make sure he is in one of my two lineups, is Mike Conley. He's a cheaper option at point guard with no Donovan Mitchell on the floor. He's been dominating usage. He's going to get even more shots than normal. He's already a productive player. You could look at Ingles or Clarkson, but their prices are starting to get up here now that if I'm going to spend $6,600 for Jordan Clarkson, why wouldn't I just go to Mike Conley, who's going to get more minutes instead of Mitchell tonight? There's going to be more shots available for him. I just think it makes a lot more sense because, look, I mean, 28 minutes, 35 fantasy points, 32 minutes, 34, 47, 42. He has the ability to put up, 40, 50-point games. And now with Mitchell off the floor, this usage has to go somewhere. So as the alternative to jamming the three studs in like we did earlier, I'm certainly going to have a lineup where we're going to try and get different, and this guy's going to be the core of it, is Mike Conley, and then we're going to look at, I would probably go, just for lineup building purposes, I'm probably going to start, let's get rid of this. I'm probably just going to start, since he's shooting guards eligible, with Karis LeVert. And then I'll give you one more play that I probably don't have to give you, but if Paul George plays tonight, put him in. Okay, he's without Kawhi on the floor. He's been absolutely lights out. He has scored. He's getting up there to 9,300, but he's just somebody that you should probably have in at least one of your lineups if Kawhi is off the floor, which we know he's going to be. But this is a back-to-back for the Clippers. They do weird stuff with their lineups all year. I'm actually half expecting, I'm not sure you can half expect something, but I would not be surprised at all if Paul George just simply rested tonight. So that's why I didn't make him part of the pick six, is because I don't know. I think it's a 50-50 chance that he doesn't even play tonight. But if he does play, he's absolutely someone else that we can consider because he's been scoring a lot of points. So anyway, I know this video probably ran a little bit long, guys. Again, I'm trying to put these out as late as possible so we can have as much information as possible. I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope this helps you out in some way. I forgot to mention at the start of the video, I would really appreciate it if you did like the video, if it was helpful to you, if you would please hit that like button down below. And then if you would also hit the subscribe button, and then there's a little bell that pops up. If you click that bell, then you get notified every time that I put out videos. We do have some other video options we're going to put out, like NBA basics, stuff like that, for playing DFS. But yeah, guys, it helps me out. If this helped you guys out at all, please just make sure you hit that like button. Also, follow me on Twitter at SandoDFS. I also put out a couple plays during the day there, and again, a link to this video if you're interested in watching it. So if you could follow me on Twitter at SandoDFS, and if you could like and subscribe to this video, I would really, really appreciate it. I appreciate you guys tuning in. I appreciate you guys joining me. I hope this was helpful. I hope we can get the money tonight. And again, if you're looking for some different information, or you have some interest in an optimizer, hop over real quick to Analytic City DFS. It's analyticcity.com. I think they're on Twitter at Analytic City DFS. I think they're doing some good things, guys, and they can help us. They can help us regular guys continue, to make some money. We've made money 2 nights in a row. Let's do it again tonight. Again, thanks a lot for joining me. Please like and subscribe, and hopefully we will talk to you guys again tomorrow.